Welcome to the Gaymazing Race, a series about everybody's favorite reality competition show, The Amazing Race, with an LGBTQ+ point of view. I'm Karen Tongson, and guess what? Nicole Georges is somewhere in the Pacific Northwest, probably meditating, making crafts, perhaps joining the front lines of Antifa. But
Being a stereotype.
so who knows? But with me today instead is guess what? Team Les Boss, Team Lesbos, Izzy and Paige. Welcome.
Ow, ow, ow.
I
Thank
love
you.
that. Oh, we've always wanted one of those air horns.
A little air horn. Yeah,
Yeah.
I could give that. I love a mouth sound,
Yes, she does.
from Team Lesbos.
Yes. Well, first of all, thanks for joining me today. And second of all, like it's been so exciting watching you so far on the series. I know that this is not at least your first reality rodeo, Izzy, but and you're a show person, Paige, right? So it's sort of like, you're familiar with this business called show. Tell me what it's been like just as the first few episodes have aired, getting feedback about your appearance on the race.
Well, my mom posted something on Facebook, so I went on Facebook, and somebody said, what'd they say? They said, "Okay, Joe Dirt," and I don't think they understand that that is a compliment in
Absolutely.
our community. So,
Yeah.
yeah, it's been mostly really fun. Like I'm really thankful that I got to kind of dip my toe into this whole world when Izzy was on Big Brother. So I think I've had a much easier transition into it all than a lot of people would. I'm very thankful for that.
Yeah, I mean, I'm thrilled at how much gay stuff has already made it onto this season. Like, I wasn't expecting that. So I'm feeling
Yeah.
like optimistic for,
Yeah.
optimistic about the, I don't know, queer people being seen or being heard at the very least. And like, yeah, getting to hear in the episode that we're doing it for the queers and seeing our U-Haul pick is like, has been very validating
Yeah.
in a community that isn't always so validating for queer people. So
And beyond being validating too, this is such a difficult moment politically for queer people. And I think just appearing on a primetime network TV show and competing along with everybody else and showing your foibles as well as your triumphs and your closeness and cuteness and intimacy is a really special thing that we all need in the community in these dark times. So thank you so much for doing that and for putting yourselves out there because honestly, as we're going to be talking about throughout the episode, I'm going to be asking you what was going on in your mind while you were spraying beer all over yourself, those kinds of questions. I guess I want to ask, did you have any considerations about what it would mean to be a couple on television and to be vulnerable in that way, especially facing these various challenges together that don't necessarily always flatter the many couples who undertake it?
I mean, like we thought about it a lot. I mean, even before I went on Big Brother, I was very aware of being like maybe really like one of only like super few like even butch presenting lesbians that have ever been on the show, and I took that responsibility like really seriously, and I wanted to show myself on Big Brother like fully, in all the ways. And the only thing that was missing was Paige, and really for me. And so like getting to do this with her, like we talked a lot about like we didn't have to fake it to not be this like at each other's throats like traumatic relationship, but we like it was so motivating for us to like make sure that we showed like queer happiness in a relationship and not just queer trauma, or queer anger, because we got a lot of that, but we also are so much more, and queer people are so much more. And so
well, and also our like theory of how to run the race was that you are more productive when you are having fun and enjoying yourself, so it felt both like related to like our mission in life of like demystifying queer love and also very directly related to our success, or pursuit of success in the race was that we needed to be focusing on joy and like and doing it together.
And frankly, like I think the fact that in our relationship and in queer like relationships in general, the fact that there aren't these like gender roles that then sort of can inhibit teamwork. Like we don't have that, you know, like we think about how we relate to each other without that just as people, and we work on that in our relationship. And so like yeah, I feel like we were really a team on the race, and we really wanted to highlight that and highlight that we were better together than apart, you know.
Yeah.
Better together. That's a slogan. That's a political slogan. It's been used, but hey, let's throw it out there. Let's reuse it. It's good. It's good. It's good. Well, okay, let's get into the recap.
Absolutely.
Because, you know, obviously I could talk to you about like the philosophy of being queer on TV the entire time. I could also talk to you about the cuteness of your intimacy, you know, like not having to deal with like certain prescribed gender roles, et cetera. That's going to happen as we recap this race. So
Absolutely.
let's get into it. All right. So pre-credits, we are reminded up top that there is this thing called the driver's seat, which here on the Gaymazing race, we call knee deep in the passenger seat. And
excuse me, as I choke and swallow.
Yeah, so we're reminded that knee deep in the passenger seat is returning on this leg, and we are made to relive the trauma of Jonathan and Anna being the people who choose how to apportion the rice challenge from the previous season. So it's funny that you're mentioning, like, you know, having to deal with or dealing in advance with the thought of, okay, let's have fun. Let's not be worried about like finishing first all the time, etc. Like, because that was a very different contrast in terms of the race last year. But we're not talking about the race last year. We're talking about this year and this season. And it begins with a self-drive from Prague to let me do this again. It begins with a self-drive from Prague to Kutna Hora, the silver city, as Phil says, that has flourishes from the peak silver era of the 13th century. Now, we saw the viewers see the race beginning in the dark and at night. How much time before you landed at your pit stop and before you left? Was it like a 12-hour rest period or?
This was the first rest period that was like a significant amount of time, right?
More significant, yeah.
So I think there was actually 36.
I don't think it was quite that much, but it was more than 12. It was like between the first and second leg was actually our shortest rest period, which made the second leg extremely taxing for everyone. They didn't really show that well enough. Intensely physical, and how much distance we were really traveling by train and also on foot once we got to Prague. I, you know, not giving anyone any credit, but I think they knew we needed to sleep. Like we had this, this was our first more significant rest period.
I think they realized before they put us behind the wheel of a car again, they needed to let us rest, or else they were going to cause a problem. So we actually had a full night's sleep and like 8 meals and like had a minute to recoup before starting the third leg.
That is good to hear.
Yeah.
It is good to hear that you weren't treated like the ultimatum cast. Oh. No, just like I'm just also saying that based on whatever dirt has appeared online with about like sleep, you know, anyway, you know, I just CBS, just chill out. Okay. And Netflix, you too. So we learn from the first group of teams that they're going to be heading to a brewery and self-driving for you know, about an hour, I think, from where your destination is. Jazz and Jag, having finished first for the second leg in a row, are plotting to use their alliance with Team Kafia and our other favorites, Team Hooju, Hug Jump, or Sissy My Sissy, as we call them Sister My Sister, but Nat and Stephanie, Sissy My Sissy, I love it. So they're in a kind of threesome. No, they're like in a trio of top teams, and you know, we know that this is where some kind of Big Brother style alliance stuff is about to happen in the context of the race. And just as the credits roll, we don't even see any of the other teams yet. But I am impressed, by the way, by the embedded Expedia ad that showed a Stefanette Huju as
not, you know, like
incredible television.
Yes.
Yeah. May I ask you at this point, had you had a chance to really talk to or meet Nat and Stephanie yet? And were there, I mean, I don't know if this is asking too much, but had anyone kind of struck up the idea of alliances even before the race began, or as the race was during the second leg? I know people worked together. We saw you all getting on the train and different things. Yeah.
Well, I won't speak to what happened before the race, but but yeah, on the race, actually, I would say, fortunately and unfortunately, the long train ride and train debacle to Prague, we were sort of all forced, without saying too much, we were all herded into one train car. And so all teams were in that train car. And it was the first time that we had all gotten a chance to have 5 uninterrupted hours or whatever it is on that first train. And we definitely wanted to spend time with Natalie and Steph. I was a big Natalie Negrotti stan from her Big Brother and Challenge days, so I was super excited to get chatty with her. And we, of course, like sort of immediately visually bonded with Steph. On the Gaymazing race, we don't got to go into that. It's like,
yeah, we were like, "What's up?"
Yeah, we're like,
"Hey, mama."
Yeah, we gave it the good old head nod at the start line.
But yeah, so we definitely had a chance to chat with them then. I mean, I think, me and Paige were not being quiet about the fact that our ideal ending to this season would be 3 all women teams, and so we were definitely talking to the women like that.
Yeah, and while there wasn't any official conversation, because once you hit the mat, you're on ice, you can't talk to each other, but you do kind of like pass each other and make eyes. And I think the women teams were all very aware that on the first leg we finished 3rd, 4th, 5th, 7th.
But
I think and we all like saw each other kind of arriving and departing, and like had a recognition that we were all independently doing quite well. And I think there's a little excitement about that.
Yeah.
That's always the utopian dream. You always want it to happen on a show like Survivor, on a show like, there have been so many times that we've been teased with an all-female alliance on a show like Survivor. There have been so many times that you've seen male contestants be paranoid that that's about to happen and then start in various shows, whether it's Big Brother or Survivor, or, basically the shows that don't have as much of a kind of daily format challenge grind that like the Amazing Race does with these teams. It's always something that tantalizes, even on Traitors, right? But it's always something that, I guess it remains to be seen what will happen to all of you. But I'm glad to hear that at least the spirit of this was something that coursed through you as you saw each other kind of clump together in those first couple of legs of the Amazing Race.
I think there was a buzz in the air about how many qualified all-female teams were running the race.
And we'll get there, but I have to admit, the ultimate decision that Stephanie and Natalie made with the driver's seat, at least was a show of faith to the women, running the race. So, but we'll get into that when we get there.
We'll get into that momentarily, but let's because you brought up knee deep in the passenger seat, the first time we really see Jazz and Jag stressed out so far is in neurotically discussing the whole driver's seat conundrum of what it would mean for them to arrive there first. And so are the brothers Kafia. I mean, they're very worried that however they dole out, like they're basically in their minds plotting, it seems from this edit, that they're going to try to put that on Nat and stuff, because it would be bad strategically to A, be seen as a front runner in these particular ways, and B, to then be a front runner and do something that pisses any of the other teams off.
I know those just listening can't see us squirming as Karen gives us this setup, but yeah.
So I Right, because of course it's the driver's seat board that is going to define whether or not you're a dominant team.
Yeah,
obviously the optics of that are so powerful.
And of course there's no way to divvy up the driver's seat things to then
I think I think Joseph said, we all want to make the move but don't want to be the face of the move. And I would like to know exactly what that move
What's the move?
What's
the move? Are we just talking Big Brother speak without actual context for the game that we're playing here?
Because I'm not sure.
I'm confused.
I'm not sure what move they were trying to direct Nat and Steph.
Because I actually think if they wanted to target strong teams with Nat and Steph, like that would be fine. Like no one would be questioning Jazz giving Tucker and Eric 15 crates, you know what I mean?
Like, no, absolutely. I mean, it also must be interesting because, right, you sort of know what the outcome is of, like, you know, from running the race of each leg, but this is the first time as the episode airs that you're seeing these conversations happen. So as you see, like, so what are some of the things that you thought in your mind as you see them contemplating this?
You know, when we arrived at the driver's seat, and saw the outcome, what we recognized was like, oh, cool, Nat and Steph are navigating well, and they made a very like equitable but ultimately neutral choice, without knowing what the challenge was ahead, assuming like everyone else did that it was something about lifting and moving beer crates.
Yeah.
They had made a really equitable choice to try and, you know, let the all women teams carry a little less weight. And otherwise it was like, you know, just like ultimately pretty neutral. There was no major statement made.
Admittedly, on you know, during that leg, there wasn't a lot of chatter really about the driver's seat. I mean, I think, you know, this would speak to like, you know, sort of game design decisions, but frankly, like nothing was being made or broken on the crates, you know?
It's like ultimately that roadblock was about learning how to fill one bottle with beer. And then once you did that, it was just checking off bottles.
Figured out how to the technique, the method, etc. Well, let's get to it.
Filling. Go ahead, Karen.
Let's get into it. Let's talk about it. So we've heard all the strategy leading up to the roadblock, which is who's feeling tapped out. At this point, we see the top 3 teams who have now named their alliance the Trainwreck Alliance because of the train debacle from last time. And, you know, they had 2 hours basically before the brewery opened to sort through their strategies. And we see that what you've been alluding to is that Nat and Stephanie essentially kind of distributed the task based on like most of the all girl teams or all women's teams had the smallest amount of crates, which was like is it 2 crates? 1 crate, exactly. 1 crate. A lot of the mixed gender teams had 2 crates, and, you know, the all boy teams had multiple crates. And that was sort of agreed upon by the top 2 boy teams as well, that they had that time to like deal with it and figure it out and, you know, be able to get out. And that, it's fascinating. It's like, they were saying we need to figure out the strategy, not Big Brother style, but the Amazing Race style. But I do think that there's some element of that kind of political wheeling and dealing happening there.
I mean, absolutely. I mean, I think we won't get into this, but I did think the clip of Jag saying this isn't Big Brother, we want to work together, and it's like maybe just revealing about how he thinks about Big Brother, because there's a lot of working together on Big Brother. Actually, like in that way, like he was playing better Big Brother on The Amazing Race, maybe.
By concealing. Exactly.
So and even by thinking about like those things anyway.
I think they talked a lot about how maybe they had this like master plan, but really the only plan that I was seeing take place was concealing the fact that the 3 of them were working together. It didn't feel like the actual distribution of crates there was any plan there to like sabotage one of the teams at the back or to uplift the team from the middle or anything like that. It was simply a choice of whose face went on the driver's board rather than how the crates were distributed.
The strategy was going to be the same no matter what.
Yeah.
Well, so as Trainwreck is going through their Czech Pilsner challenge, filling out bottles using a kind of tap thing, we learned from Phil that the average Czech person consumes more than 30 gallons of beer per year. That the rest of you are self-driving. Did you realize that it was a self-drive the minute that you before the clue, or did you just find out at that moment that, oh, this is going to be the self-drive? And what was going through your mind as you thought about navigating your way through the Czech Republic?
I think we're allowed to say this. In the moment before you're handed the clue and your race clock starts, someone from the safety team walked up and gave us some brief, like,
we get briefings from safety.
Yeah, they gave us some brief rules about how to navigate the streets
and how to
of the Czech Republic and how to not die while driving.
Okay.
But we were like,
So
we had a pretty good idea.
Just in case you have to drive this time around.
Exactly.
Yeah. Oh, good. Yeah. Well, so, that's a production. That's how it happens, right?
Yeah.
So drive yourselves. But so, like, given this, like that, like, were you concerned? How did you prepare a particular way for doing the self drives? Like, did you, like, read maps? Take a map reading class?
We were really excited to be self-driving. Like, if our, I think our performance on leg 1, on a self-driving leg where we went from 12th to ultimately 3rd, we made up a lot of our time on the self-drive. We had prepared before going on the race quite a bit for how we were going to navigate and how we were going to drive. We even, I know we've said this before, but Paige was working on the West End in London, opening a show, and I went out there and we rented a car and like wrote down directions and drove to Bristol all on our own without looking at our phones, and sort of practiced a shorthand and how we would do it. And she got to practice driving stick on the wrong side of the road. And so we felt very prepared, and we were very, very upset about the debacle in Berlin with the train. We are not herd people. We're queer people. We don't follow the herd. We were really upset. There are many factors that aren't necessary to get into now that led to why so many teams got off the train at the same time at the wrong stop. But they didn't show this, but we had me and Paige had our first, like, we got to talk about this and be serious. And it was mostly about sticking to our guns and making sure that we aren't following, and also being really careful about when we might be leading teams or not. That was something we really thought about. So when we started this leg, honestly, we were pumped to self-drive, and this wasn't so clear in the edit, and this is no knock to our Chata sisters and to Jack and Chelsea, but we made up two placements on that drive to the brewery. So we were our confidence definitely paid off on our drive to the brewery.
Technically, we made up one spot because Jack and Chelsea were released right after us.
That's right.
But we did extend a pretty massive gap.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah.
So
we were very confident self-driving, and we were thrilled to be behind the wheel of a car again.
Yeah.
Which is a weird thing for two New Yorkers to say, but
I got my driver's license for the Amazing Race. I'll say.
Oh my God, that's wonderful news! Aren't you glad you have one now, or aren't you glad you have one?
Yes, I am. I'm a New Yorker through and through. Like, I grew up in New York, and it just wasn't part of like childhood, But so I got it for this race. But we just like that better working together. We were happy to have that quiet time to prepare ourselves for the leg and to center ourselves and
to be insulated from other voices and other teams. Like, we really thrived when we were able to close the door on everyone.
Yeah.
That is a framing of the self-drive, because the self-drive has been the source of so much Amazing Race trauma, that the fact that it becomes that's a very Angelino take on what it means to be in the car. Actually, it's just like, it's a moment to center ourselves, be with ourselves, get ready for the next thing. And then, so that you can show up for the next thing. So I appreciate that, even if the New Yorker by heart, and by, like every aspect of using a New Yorker. That was a very Angelino approach to being in a car. So that said, while you are all like centering yourselves in the self drive, the team Trainwreck, or rather the top three teams, are there getting their crate loads of beer done. This is when we learn that Steph, Steph gives us a whole, I'm a bartender and I
She's
think
so
I'll be good
hot.
at this. Yeah, it's great. I love that moment. Also, and this is in ye olden days of the Gaymazing race, we would have to do a lot to manufacture potential queer people or lesbians in our narratives of the Amazing Race.
Mm.
So, in that spirit, I noticed that there's a nerdy Czech lady in a zip up fleece with glasses who's there instructing people how to do the beer. And I'm just going to say, for old TGR purposes, I'm going to say that she's giving me gay vibes, but they
Oh,
might also be just Czech.
I mean, she saw us.
she saw us, and let me tell you,
we did feel seen. Yeah,
I utilized her.
did it, baby. By all means necessary.
Yeah, they didn't show it. It's funny, like, of course, after you do something, you realize how much happens that isn't in the edit. I wish they showed, at least I was running to her every, fucking burst bottle, trying to figure out like why I didn't understand what was going on. And so she was an excellent gay resource. Yeah.
Okay, wait, that's wonderful. Gay or Czech, we will never know. Play the game with us. All we know is that, that you bonded through this task and this process, and felt like, I feel like we could score all those outtakes to Whitney Houston's "I Want to Run to You." Woo woo. Anyway,
That's the
so now we know. Oh, it's good. See, that's the thing. It's like, I love that our instincts are verified by real actual experience. So I'm really stoked that you guys only got one case. I was wondering though about why Team Orange got two. Do you have any sense of that?
They ran out of one cases to give, and I guess they were the least close to them. I don't know for sure.
Yeah, I mean, I think we don't know for sure, but I think I got the sense from it that it was like making a statement also about like, if Steph and Natalie were so conscious of this, they were almost the like floater team, right? They were in Big Brother speak. They were playing with Trainwreck, and they were also absolutely feeding us that they were with the women. And so I think this was also a play to show face to the all women teams, but I think ultimately you can't help it if there's a hierarchy there, not in a bad, just like that's
not in a bad way, but I also
I think that's what happened.
They have presumptively great athleticism, etc. So I did want to like focalize again, Gaymazingly, on something that happens is our bartender Stephanie is using her expertise in hospitality. She lesbianically says, "It's one of those things when slow is fast."
Oh my God.
Swoon, Stephanie.
Oh my God. Say it again.
I know.
Say it again.
Yeah.
It's one of those things when slow is fast. And there's much discussion of CO2.
Woo!
Yeah, let me tell you. I mean, yeah, it's true. I mean, it's like after doing it, right? I was saying to Paige after we watched the episode, I was like, I'm telling you, like literally, you see which element is the one that makes the beer go into the bottle, and the boys could not tap it out. Like they couldn't not just like rah all the way on, like they just couldn't
turn it up to 11.
Yeah.
Yeah, and it's like I do think it speaks to the, maybe instinctual nature, there.
I just have to say I love the les-splaining about beer. And it's great. And speaking of like different mantras, Izzy, you talk about your team mantra while you're in the car. Both of you say it's about learning and not powering through.
In my Reading Rainbow voice, yes.
Tell us a little bit about that.
Oh, I mean, I think like a lot of our training also, we prepared a lot for the race, like we don't half-assed anything, that's very gay also, so but we in our watching of the race and studying and just like thinking about it, it's like it's not actually whether or not you're really good at a lot of things. It's whether or not you can learn how to do a thing really quickly, because everything on the race is inherently designed for everybody on the race to be able to complete it. So that's not an issue. Everything is completable by anyone, or the show wouldn't be successful. You know what I mean? Like, and so we practiced really hard, like learning a lot of things from the beginning stages.
Right. Our intent wasn't to learn every skill that could possibly come up on the race. It was to get good at being beginners.
Yeah.
And like get like
and comfortable being beginners,
build up some confidence showing up to something we had never seen before.
And also like being really good at being able to like just put your ego aside and be like, what am I doing wrong? It doesn't matter that I think I'm doing it right. I'm not. And like being really comfortable, like self-analyzing. We practice that, you know, we practice that with each other, teaching each other skills, because that can be a hard thing for couples, is like, okay, Paige is the expert here, so teach me how to do it, and vice versa. And we practiced that. We practiced how we would talk to each other when one of us was more in the know than the other. And so I think that was really valuable for us, you know?
Yeah, we knew going in before we had even seen the other teams. We were like, I'm guessing we're not going to be the muscle queens of the season. So we should probably work on another approach, you know, that isn't just about relying on things we are inherently great at already. So
yeah, well, that's great. Like, taking in the lessons, learning it. What we've called on this show, it's called stop, drop, and roll, right? It's like taking a moment to, you know, take a breath, pause, understand what's happening, and then figure something out instead of like rushing your way through a scenario, unless you are really desperately like in the final throes of like the bottom situation, and maybe it's just like you kind of learn by doing a little bit. But I think that it is important to kind of figure it out, to stop, drop, and roll. But I like that. It's you know, it's you know, slow is fast, and you know, learn, not power through. There we go. All the lesbian lessons of the Gaymazing race this season. So for some reason, there are a lot of different pearls of wisdom on the self-drive that are also being doled out. We learned Team Orange talking about avoiding the dark path of kind of insecurity and doubt. And Simone also offer pearls of wisdom. And then back at the beer challenge, once Eric and Tucker are there, we are reminded that Tucker and Angela have a beef, and that he's really stoked to have noticed that they're not there and that they've been eliminated. So that's a little bit of an interesting thing. But, you know, that never came to fruition. No, I guess that they had to close the circle on that. And I guess that's why they told this to us. One of the things that made me most happy is that amidst the lesplaining of beer techniques, Stephanie finishes first. Also noticing the turtleneck situation. Is it a turtleneck or is it like a turtleneck muff? I don't even know.
It's like a gaiter, you know, like a buff, right?
Yeah.
Oh. Yeah.
So
that's like I love it. I love it. It's like a Dickie, but like it's like Dickie to tuxedo as turtleneck is to sweater. Yes. It's a really fascinating. I love it though. I need to know more about this. I'm going to have to ask you about it at some point.
We'll
so right. Yes, the turtleneck attachment. So we learn once they finish that the route info says to drive to Costelsvanani or something like, or Costel SV Ani. I have no idea. It seems like it's a brief drive, only a 15-minute drive. And so Team Sissy My Sissy writes out the directions for their new alliance, Team Trainwreck. They Jazz and Jag get out there pretty soon, and then they both decide to tuck this paper into Joseph and Adam, Team Kafia's weird like trunk area. Like the whole time I'm like, that is a terrible spot for that. It's going to blow away. Someone's going to see it. What did you think, Izzy?
I hate all of this. It's like, I think spirit and integrity of the game is like really important to me. Mm-hmm. And also like seeing women show up for themselves is really important for me and for us. And we just believe so much in Steph and Nat. Mm-hmm. And I now, after watching it back, I don't know, part of me thinks, and seeing how well Nat did on the hockey and like how they did, it's like, if you didn't do that, would you have ran to that mat first without anyone waiting or doing for you? So she's going to say it much more
I think
nicely than me.
This is actually the second time that Nat and Steph have turned down an opportunity to carve their own path and probably get significantly ahead. And in Prague, when it came down to the detour choice, something you don't really see in the episode is that remember the chair versus handle with care. Remember the chair actually had the potential to be significantly faster than handle with care.
Oh wow, it looked
just
more
because
complicated.
of the foot traffic and how far you were going, and there was actually like an immense amount of stairs involved in handle with care that didn't really make the episode.
I don't know why.
So you know, if Nat and Steph at that moment had said, "Love you guys, we're going to do our own thing," I think could have at least had the opportunity to comfortably be in first place,
especially given Steph's hospitality skills and her memory skills. You know, people are so afraid,
right? And Nat won't talk a big talk, but she's sharp as hell. She's sharp as hell. And especially they would have been there completely alone.
Yeah, the quiet was really important. You know, being there with less teams is really important for Remember the Chair, and they would have been there all by themselves.
Right. So I feel like that could have been their first chance to just like
smoke them.
Absolutely extend their lead. And then we see it again here at the end of the brewery.
The first roadblock at this,
you know, I'll say it here. I don't feel weird saying it. Like, you know, this is a great strategy for Jag and Jazz. This is a great strategy to take teams, sort of, you know, continue to hammer home that they need Jag and Jazz to show them and stuff like this. And ultimately, Jag and Jazz are gonna run to the mat first. They're gonna leave a challenge first. And then where does that leave you?
If you have an alliance of 3 teams that are gonna stick together until the very last moment, that alliance only benefits the team that can win the foot race to the mat, you know?
That's like, look, I think that one of the worst Amazing Race seasons we've ever seen is the one with Mine 5 or whatever. You know, with like, I was just like, well, there are 5 teams allied together. That's just like half of the field. There's this collusion, and it took out the spirit of the competition of the race. And so I'm going to be curious to see how it all plays out after this, what will happen, how things will bifurcate or trifurcate or however. But it's fascinating to see this. Meanwhile, a team with no alliance, Chelsea and Jack, are really lost.
They're so lost.
Yes. At some point, they block a bus lane. They have to switch who's driving.
I don't know if you noticed, but as soon as we're released on the course, they can't find their car. And they point out us getting directions as proof that we also can't find our car.
We knew where the car was, but we needed directions.
They were seemingly just trying to get over the hurdle of finding a vehicle. So I guess their strategy was to acquire the car and then stop in some precarious place to get directions later. Totally short.
Yeah, it is a terrible idea to pull over on any narrow European street in a city.
Have already been so faced with the trams and the trolleys and these lanes that aren't actually lanes. Like, we learned,
it's actually like one of the most walkable cities in the world or something. So that also means it's a very bad city to pull over a car. Like, it's
absolutely terrible city to pull over a car. Well, so you pull up to the brewery in 4th place, and you make the decision at this roadblock, which once again is called "Who's Feeling Tapped Out." That Izzy's going to do it. What went into that decision-making process?
It was super important to us. We thought a lot about keeping our roadblocks even. That was really important to us. Early on in the race, it's like a lot of our decisions are taking our time to learn how to do things, and also decisions we made in the roadblocks were really like long-term decisions. We didn't want to find ourselves late in the race because we planned on being there late in the race. So we were envisioning this. We didn't want to be at a point where we needed one of us to do a roadblock that one of us wasn't suited for. So we tried really hard to keep them even. And we had said, you know, before we started the leg and when we were driving, okay, if we get to a roadblock, like, our first thing is like, Izzy should do this, you know, like, we're even on roadblocks, but if we want to keep going back and forth, Izzy should do this. And so we had kind of had that mindset. And we also were under the impression potentially that this was a carrying or a strength-based thing. And so, You know, I'll be the muscle.
You're wearing the tank top.
So,
it is the gay tank top. You're showing us why you were like,
exactly.
presumptively chosen to do the lifting.
Baby, yeah.
I love that Paige, by the way, props on walking the plank.
Thank you.
In Prague.
I wouldn't have made it.
Terrible.
Lithe and fleet-footed as you are. I think that was an appropriate roadblock choice.
Yes.
Thank you. Yeah, we knew the day she called me and said we're applying for the Amazing Race that I would be doing the heights challenges.
Good. That's important.
I got to eat the thing. If we got to eat it, that's me.
So I've always talked to Nicole about it because Nicole is vegan, and I'm like, I obviously eat all the things. Right. But like sometimes you're also going to have to down a tarantula. You know what I mean? You better be able to do it. So Izzy, you seem to struggle a little bit with the beer, but now you've explained the behind the scenes. Maybe you just wanted to talk to the Czech lesbian a little bit more.
Love a Czech lesbian.
Take your time.
Or the Czech fleece wearer. We cannot confirm or deny her status.
It's anonymous.
Everyone's, it's all a spectrum. It's all a spectrum.
It's all a spectrum. Yeah. So actually speaking of spectrums, I know that that's a smooth segue, but it's interesting to me because we finally get to see a little bit about the bottom of the pack and what's happening there. Kyland and Taylor, who won the Express Pass, who were first in the very first challenge, right? Of the race before they kind of fell back, have a conversation. And Kylan talks about being diagnosed on the spectrum. And Taylor talks very sweetly about like how, she speaks in metaphor and how that might be the most compatible, Taylor speaks very kindly about and kind of sweetly about how she uses metaphor excessively and how that might not always like go with Kylan's sense of processing things. But I'm wondering if you think, just from a kind of viewer's point of view, if this has to do with some of the Jonathan blowback from last season and the kind of discussions and disclosures that were made afterwards about, and that was a big thing post-race of the last season is Jonathan talking about his diagnoses. And it's interesting that this kind of disability discourse has made its way into the Amazing Race also. I mean, and I don't want to make you feel uncomfortable having a comment on anything that you might not feel comfortable commenting on, but just I'm wondering if, just as viewers, whether you think it's related to what happened last year.
I think it's like a two-parter thing. I think like having that diagnosis and being able to point to something that's like, oh, there's the source of like this massive frustration and discomfort that you're feeling like in particular on this race. Like, I think like, yeah, I'm so relieved for Jonathan to have gotten that diagnosis so that he can, move forward in life. And I'm so thankful that Kyland like has that diagnosis, like to be able to make sense of like how he moves throughout the world. So I think like, it's great to point at why the frustration exists. It is a completely other thing, how you choose to vent that frustration. And like, I think that is in and of itself a separate thing that, I hope Jonathan and Anna are like in pursuit of working on.
Yeah.
I think it's multi-layered.
No, it's great. Yeah, I think it is multi-layered. And I think that that was a very elegant way to assess the situation. Thank you so much for that, Paige. Did you want to add anything, Izzy, or is that
Get in there, baby?
All right, great. So
I do think speaking in in metaphor communication style for anyone. So
yeah.
That's not just with someone that is diagnosed ADHD. Like, I don't understand what you're saying. So I do want to say that.
Yeah. Well, so we get back to the front of the pack, Trainwreck, who pull up to the next spot, which is a giant field where there's going to be some plowing. happening, and they're going to have to find a clue and till the clue out of the soil. I think if this is going to be bleak, everybody has to put like Mario and Luigi overalls on, and then there's some gay harnesses that everybody has to
Yes, there are, Karen. Oh my God. I can't wait to tell you what happened to us.
Okay, so everybody has to put again, back in TGR days, like the bleak days of TGR, where we, had no gay people to talk about or to talk to, we would have made a lot more out of these harnesses. But I'm glad that we're going to make more of them when we talk about you putting the harnesses on momentarily. I just want to shout out the fact that there is some sort of GoPro attached to the plow, and the shots of Natalie,
that,
like
right?
with the plow, make her look so radiant.
Oh,
like on the plow cam.
Just so gorgeous,
I'm just like, girl, you look amazing.
Incredible.
It's like the light, like just the sort of breeze in the hair. Way to work that plow camera, Natalie.
Yes. Yes.
Yeah. And we get a little more Jazz and Jag story. We learn that they are from a small town. They seem to have experience with everything. Like we know how to work farmland. So, and then they somehow get everybody to plow from the right to the left. And
pretty much basically, a shot, but yeah.
Yeah, exactly. So, back at the brewery, Izzy, you're practicing slower is better, and Kristene and Rubina are like feeling okay, and they're living with no regrets. We're finding out some story about them and like the kind of philosophies of peace and life and stuff like that. But there's some stress happening at the brewery. And back at the bottom of the pack, we get a little more Kat and Alex story. Kat talks about being liked better now that she's dating Alex. I find that to be a disturbing storyline.
I don't know. It takes a real woman to admit something like that,
exactly. Okay. No, it's true. I mean, and I do think that there are sometimes situations, or many situations, where that happens, where there's a kind of front-facing person in a pair or whatever that like does the kind of PR and the social lubricant work,
I feel like I get it, like I'm better with, I'm a better representation of myself when I'm next to Paige than when I'm out and about all on my own, left to my own devices.
Yeah.
Even though we aren't referring to the exact same things, I also feel like a better version of myself.
Oh, that's sweet.
That was sweet.
Yes.
Yeah. Well, at this point, I know that we speak barely of the straight men who run this race, but Eric and Tucker have passed Joseph and Adam.
I remember now. Right. They're up there, right?
Yeah, they passed Joseph and Adam just as 2/3 of Trainwreck finished the plowing scenario because Joseph and Adam lose their car key. And they start to worry now. Joseph and Adam.
They actually, Eric and Tucker passed Joseph and Adam to get to the plow. Am I correct?
Did they get
Eric and Tucker showed up. Joseph and Adam, although the time was taken to write the directions from personal experience, it's actually super hard to just follow someone else's shorthand of directions without actually seeing the map or knowing where you're going. So I'm
exactly. Oh, that's right. They got lost a little bit.
Yeah, and I don't know. We only get a quick glimpse of those directions, but I do not believe they start with any cardinal direction or orientating out of the brewery.
So
right, left. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, so unless you know how to start, like those directions aren't getting you very far.
Going to be meaningful. So Eric and Tucker pass them.
Yeah.
But then, then everybody basically finishes the plow thing, and Eric and Tucker are in third at this point, and Team Kafia, though, as they arrive, get to consult with members of their alliance, Jazz and Jag, before facing the task. And the route info for the top teams is to drive to Zimny Stadium at Kutna Hora. So everything that takes place in the same town, right?
Yeah.
And back at the brewery, you finish and you leave in 5th place, and Hannah and Simone are hot on your heels.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And then Chelsea and Jack finally get directions, and I just want to shout out the fact that there's a very cute black and white dog that makes a sweet face when they finally figure out where they're going. One of the things we do on the Gaymazing race is tell you about all the animals and the cute pets that show up. So let's just shout out that cute black and white dog.
Yes.
Matt and Megan now, at this point, we're talking about him, part of the draw here, are so far behind and seem like they're so like nowhere to be found. And at the brewery at this point, it's like Kylan and Taylor, Kat and Alex, and Jack and Chelsea are in the mix, but Matt and Megan, who we call Dazed and Confused, are very cool, calm, and collected. And then we see you ask for directions on your way to the plowing and harness challenge. And I just want to ask you, just as an insider take, what's it like to, how do you decide where to stop for directions? Do you, in what circumstances do you have a plan for asking for directions? Like, what is that like? Like, cause it just, you just see it happen, but I'm like, I don't know if I would have asked that guy or whatever, but yeah.
I think the rule of thumb when watching The Amazing Race is if you see a team asking for directions that is not the location that they just finished a task or adjacent to that location, it means they have already gotten directions, attempted to get somewhere, and gone off course and are stopping again. Like, I think there is one thing we were shocked about, like going on the race after having watched so much of it, is that
and like, thinking about this aspect a lot.
It is, I think, somewhat rare for any team to get from point A to point B without taking at least one pit stop in the middle to confirm they're on the right route or to redirect themselves. Yeah. So if you're seeing someone stop in a location you don't recognize, it's because they're making another stop.
Yeah. And for us, it was like, I come in a little hot.
Yeah.
So team-wise, it was like pretty clear that I was going to just stay here. And then within our 20-foot rule, because we can't be 20 feet away from each other, I would wait here and Paige would very calmly and like a normal person ask, excuse me, and so
we realized very early in the race that Izzy's race intensity was maybe a bit concerning to strangers we were approaching on the street. And in leg one, multiple people accused us of attempting to mug them.
Yeah.
And so
the muscle.
So give me the directions. Yeah.
And so I actually feel terrible that this was what we did, but I wonder if you'll see it, in further,
if we continue on this race
in the race, you might hear me say, baby, stop, baby, slow down, because we just understood that I needed to approach strangers
and also not
to disarm them
and not to continue with this, lesbian hate men, stereotype, but men sucked at giving directions and did not want to engage with us. Like more often than not, a man would ignore us and a woman was helpful.
Only men accused us of trying to mug them.
Yes. And so it also, so when thinking about like making choices, like a lot of times it's like, oh man, a bench filled with dudes or this lady reading her book on the bench. Like we're going to go to the lady, that was like we did sort of make
That's good to know. That's good to know. I always make my partner like approach people in public space because she's more femme presenting. She's white. I'm not. It's sort of like those go handle this white person business. So it's sort of like that.
Yeah. I do think like the feminine presentation is a huge part of it because like even though I don't by any means consider myself deeply effeminate, I also do understand there is like clearly an energy difference between us, and I can look lost and helpless in a way that people like assume a more masculine energy shouldn't be helpless and like so I could be doe-eyed to disarm someone.
I love that.
Yeah.
Doe-eyed Paige. Now we know all of the secrets of Team Lesbos. Okay, so let's get back to before we go to the Zimney Stadium to talk about the hockey challenge, I want you to tell us about strapping it on at the field.
I've been waiting how many months you ran this leg to talk about it.
Did you notice that we arrive, pull our clue, and then all of the sudden are actively plowing with no footage in between?
Yeah, there's no footage. You're just like actively plowing.
I wonder why that is.
So I couldn't help myself. We had a whole demo for strapping on. I was like, oh, buddy, I don't need this. I was like, you're telling this lesbian how to strap it on? Oh, I know where that buckle goes. I couldn't be stopped. watched.
I was
And
continuously saying, my mom's going to watch this. My mom's going to watch it.
I was also like bringing up the pony play aspect. You know, we've got a lot of kink involved with this plow. Yeah. And at one point, Paige loves this, but at one point our producer was like, yeah, so we're going to sit on, we can't use any of this. So
he literally said, Izzy, you can save your breath. We cannot use this.
We can't use it. So I love that you try to bring the kink to the Amazing Race, though.
Do they not know what they're doing? Like,
well, I've speculated. I think that they, that's the thing is, do they not know what they're doing? But that is why our show exists, is to underscore the fact that there is harnessing, strapping on. There's like many times over on this Amazing Race, there's a lot of like cosplay,
3 legs in, and this is my second time in a harness. Like,
yeah. Well, there you go. Well, we'll just let you all figure that. For those of you who don't know what we're talking about, that's okay too. In any case, I love that you did that, and I love that you did one for the culture. You tried for the culture. So we get another roadblock. There's a second roadblock on this leg, and it's at Zimny Stadium, and there we learn about Czech hockey excellence, and basically somebody has to suit up from each team and skate and shoot a goal, receive a pass, make a pass, and shoot a goal, right? And the clue is going to be a coin. Again, more links to the discovery of silver in the 13th century in this town. And then we see the teams that all have cute little hockey outfits with their names on them. Part of me asks, did they offer for you to keep them?
No, and I yelled about it.
Yep.
Big Brother sends you a box at the end of the season with like all the stuff you touched and like wore and all this stuff, and the Amazing Race doesn't. I was like, this isn't a Big Brother season. Like put her in the jersey. It's so cute.
It's so cute. I'm glad you had the footage of that. Yeah, but so Jazz and Jag, are there first. Jag does it. He's wobbly, but he still scores on his second attempt. Nat thinks the outfit is cute. She talks about not being able to ice skate. Clang, clang, clang. Misses it the first time, but she scores the second time. They're both like jamming.
So
Nat is so capable.
Yeah, we want to shout it from the rooftops because we just know that she doubts herself so much and says that how much she relied on Stephanie in this race. And it's like, you showed up. You showed up, you showed out, and we're just so proud of Natalie, and we love her and love them so much.
Yeah, quite early in the race, we were saying like, my God, it would be amazing to go to the end of this with all women. And you know what? We'll probably lose to Nat and Steph.
And we'd be fine.
Yeah. We're so impressed with how capable they were. And like, even though Nat was like, clearly terrified of that, like she just is so capable that it couldn't even stop her. Like even though she had to wear oversized clothes that no one else had to deal with because she is truly like 4'11".
Yeah. She's little.
She is very small, and she still did it. No problem.
Yeah, well, so she fully, she finishes just as quickly as Jag does. So, and basically, this is then where we get this negotiation, and this is how it's depicted in the narrative of the edit that we see. Jazz and Jag want to give Natalie a birthday gift. We learn up top that it's Natalie's birthday, not today, the day of the leg, but the following day. And also as a kind of gesture for waiting to give everyone directions. And so this is, I think that just goes into what we've already discussed, right? This sort of, there's a dynamic that's being established. The narrative of the edit is establishing it. And it'll be interesting to see how that plays out. And I love that you have Nat and Steph's like, a team sister, my sisters, sissy, my sissies, interest at heart, insofar as they are extremely capable. They did finish these tasks first, or if not, almost immediately afterwards. And so I can't wait to see how this plays out throughout the rest of the season. Meanwhile, back at the brewery, Kristene and Rubina finally get out of there after struggling. There's a lot of struggle. Just as Jack and Chelsea arrive to see that they have 3 crates to fill. And, basically this is that moment where we're cutting back and forth, between all the different tasks happening simultaneously. We already talked about you pushing or pulling at the plowing fields. But, there's a lot a lot happening. This is kind of like that mishmash. It was like, okay, where are people going to finish next? You want to give us your sense of like at that point in the race, did you have a sense of where you might be in the order?
Yeah, we had a pretty strong sense. Like we were counting clues every time we got to a clue box. So we knew exactly where we were when we got to the plow and when we left the plow. We didn't technically know how far behind us other teams were. We assumed Jack and Chelsea would show up anytime. That assumption was wrong, but we knew where we were sitting.
Yeah, we were kind of going back. This also didn't make it into the edit, but just driving, as we were driving to different locations, we would see Hannah and Simone pass us. And then we would see that, oh, they did a wrong thing. And then we would get ahead of them. Like we were ultimately playing
neck and neck the whole
with
leg.
Hannah and Simone. And we've talked about this, posts and everything, that this leg was so fun being so competitive with them. And it was also just like a mutual respect thing of loving that our two teams were thriving and also pushing each other, like not just handing each other the win or handing each other like getting to the next thing. It was like really like, I don't know, healthy, respectful, like beautiful competition between each other. And ultimately they were a team that we wanted to see continue with us in the race,
Yeah.
But we were very aware of where both teams were in the middle of the pack, and we, trusted their ability to finish the leg as much as ours. So we decided to have like, a good volley and go back and forth. And actually, when we got to the ice rink, you'll notice that we pulled our clue and went into the ice rink first. But Simone comes out of the dressing room and onto the ice before me. Yeah. That's how close we were.
Yeah.
That Simone just bested me getting into the gear because I had no clue what I was doing. And she booked it out to the ice first.
Yeah, it's fascinating. I like that though. And I'm glad also that you confirmed for us like this thing that we kind of sense that that teams count the number of clues in the clue box. Sometimes though I feel like other seasons I've watched, it seems like sometimes it can be deceptive because sometimes there are multiple clues in the clue box that are extra. Is that at all possible? I don't know yet because there have been times where, I feel like in an earlier season where they're like, there just seemed to be many clues in the clue box. And even though a team was towards the end, there were still clues in the clue box, but yada, yada.
Something we did experience on the race. I actually still don't know. I have some ideas, but I still don't know for sure what team was doing this. One team was ripping their clue and putting the empty opened envelope back into the box. But if you just take more than half a second, you can see that one is not
opened and ripped and whatever.
Yeah, because the rest are sitting all neatly together.
And closed. I mean, it's like,
Mm-hmm. I love, so back at hockey, I just want to point out that like Tucker like brags about how good he's going to be at this, and then he misses 12 goal attempts, probably trying to get too fancy and show off his ice skating abilities. I'm glad that there wasn't a lot of time spent on that, but there was some schadenfreude involved.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And then we learned back in hockey also that Joseph didn't do sports and he worked in his family's shop, and that Adam is the jock. But we watch him awkwardly try and try and try Joseph until he finally gets it in 20 attempts. Paige, you do it fairly smoothly and quickly.
She does.
I think,
6 attempts? That's great. Yeah. I'm thrilled with that.
That was, I think, my second time wearing ice skates in my entire life. We had intended to ice skate before we went on the race. It was on our list of things to do, but we just didn't quite squeeze it in to our schedule, which would have been good considering we're on leg 3 and have already been on 2 ice rinks. I was horrified of doing that task, and I'm really, really relieved.
But this is another one, like they didn't show it, but when they show in the edit that when we get to the clue and we're reading it, Joseph and Adam are leaving the ice rink. And they told us it's hockey. Like they told us straight up. So we had no deciphering the roadblock pun, we knew that it's going to be hockey. And that was a moment where we were like, oh man, like I'm probably more suited for this. But a 2 roadblock leg, I'm still furious about it. Give us detours, give us motherfucking detours.
Yeah.
But it felt important, and because we knew exactly where we were placement wise in the race, we took the risk, and it wasn't even really a risk, but it was like we took the risk to throw Paige in and continue to keep ourselves even. The idea that I was now going to be up 2 roadblocks at the end of that leg was really seemed scary to us.
We were either going to end at 2-2 or 3-1. So
that's bad.
Yeah.
You did it. It fit within your strategy, and you succeeded at it again. You learned how to do something you didn't know how to do. Like, the lesson is learned along the way, as you were saying, as part of your team philosophy, right? So back at the brewery, we basically, Matt and Megan also show up, or there are still teams. And so you think, wow, there might be a chance in this situation. Meanwhile, we see Kristene and Rubina get lost. They see teams running probably towards the pit stop. They are stressed. Rubina's going down a dark path in her brain. This is where we get the title of the episode, Cry and Rally. Had you, at this point on the race, had you seen Rubina and Kristene much?
Oh yeah.
So they're actually the only team that we really felt like we had developed a significant relationship with that point. We ended up on the very last train into Prague, because we took a half dozen trains that day.
Yeah.
The very last one was like several hours.
Yeah, and we shared a car with Rubina and Kristene.
Yeah, it was just the 4 of us.
And Kristene, actually, you'll appreciate this. The Gaymazing racers will appreciate this. Kristene dropped a little, "Oh, my girlfriend,"
and we were like, "What?"
And that was like all the intro it took for us to be like, who are these people? And we really kind of like had a very human kind of moment with them, and like kind of saw each other on that train.
Very much so. Yeah, we really bonded.
Yeah. Well, I mean, we know that Nicole is obsessed with Team Orange, but also I want to say that, like, Kristene, like, LA florist, Filipina, hello, sister. I look forward to talking to them at some point during the course of this season, and I'm pulling for them. We're all pulling for them too. I think that they're awesome, and I'm glad to see that they were able to cry and rally this time around, and
a little
make their
emotional regulation.
Yes,
get it out there, get it out.
I'm shocked that I have yet to receive a clip of me crying on this race, because
she was crying.
I maybe cried more than anyone on the race.
Oh, you'd already been crying 3 legs in.
I know, right?
Crying, like bawling. What you didn't see in Prague before I named Antonin Dvorak was that I was like basically keeled over, like it took us 10 minutes to say that, because I was like gathering myself. So I just I want us to change how we talk about women crying or people crying, and that it's actually like such a cathartic, it's like an important thing to feel the feelings, get it out, and be able to like rationalize and move on from that. And I loved that we saw that from Kristene and Rubina, especially on this.
Yeah. And especially in the way they did it, because sometimes if you like, for me, it's like, if I let one tear fall, it's like, it's over, I'm stuck in it, And so for me, it's about like being regulated and never going there. But like, I am not all people. And like for Rubina, it's about like get it out and then move on from it,
Which I really relate to.
She's like in touch with herself in a healthy way, and she's just going to regulate and then get back to work.
And also all the haters out there that are like, stop crying on the race. It is hard. Anyone that says it's not hard is lying. Like, it's hard.
Oh yeah, it's obviously hard.
It's stressful. You got a camera in your fucking face. It's like crazy, So
I'd also love to see CBS figure out how to edit a season in which no one cries. They'd have no idea what to do.
Exactly.
So,
that would be very difficult.
Exactly.
Yeah, they'd have to drain like reservoirs filled with water of AI to do that. But which is to say, Izzy and Paige, I do want to say I appreciated, like, I know that we've already moved on from you having done the hockey task, but I loved how, Izzy, you shouted to Paige, "Baby, I'm going to tell you I love you, then be quiet."
We practiced that too.
Well, just like we were just talking about, like, in stressful situations, like, I need to feel very in control. And it's really important for me to like not be thinking about what I look like, which is completely ridiculous, you know. So I need to like not think about how spectacularly dumb this looks, and like hearing an outside voice is only bringing awareness to like
that she's like on display, you
yeah,
know, like
yeah. And so I like need whatever privacy I can hold on to. And so I did. I told her she could watch my roadblocks at home with everyone
right.
else.
Her ideal situation was that I would have turned around and not even looked or not even seen her do it. Like that would have been her ideal situation if I had just left. So if that gives extra context to that.
And so
that's really incredible though. I love that. Go ahead. Yeah.
So sweet, poor thing, you know, because like all she's a verbal processor, you know, so I knew that was like a big ask. But yeah, it's something we talked about like in very plain terms before the race of like how to support each other when we're not allowed to help.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I was just like, yeah, I was so proud of you. You were like, I know what to do right now. And I'm going to say I love you. And then I'm going to get the fuck out of this. It was great.
Yeah. Being a verbal processor. I love that you just used that phrase for the non-queers out there to like kind of learn about how we talk to each other. I knew that she wasn't a verbal processor, but
yeah, we say this thing like at home when we're like thinking of, you know, when one of us is in crisis or, you know, needing comforting, like, do you want touching or no touching? You know, like is it a hug moment or do you need space? You know, and so we talk like that in our normal life.
Also. No, I love it. It's like we are a therapized community.
That's correct.
As Rubina would say, I am a healed woman.
That's right.
Yes, as Rubina would say. Also, something Rubina said that I want to point out in this episode is, it's hard. I'm a miniature horse.
Yeah. No,
that's a great line.
Okay. That opens a whole other discussion
about that. Can we circle back and talk about how spectacularly small the Bernabe sisters are and how large that Plow was? I think
and how tall that bike was on leg one. Just saying it, no opinions, just that's a fact. The bikes were the same.
Through the magic of editing, it does look like everyone was pretty equally able to plow the field, but
that's not the reality.
Body weight, it was the factor, and the fact that Rubina is 4'9" tall.
Wow.
The fact that
gymnast sized.
Yeah. 4'8". Anyway, she's like, but she is one tank of a muscle. Like she is so strong. They are so strong.
Yeah. And Kristene being like the big partner at 5'0" is insane. Yeah. And the fact that they moved that Plow at all, let alone at a competitive speed, is like
more impressive than anything anyone else did that leg. Truly.
A miniature horse. That's right, sister. Come on.
Did it, you know?
Did it.
I am 9 inches taller than Rubina.
Wow.
When I stopped, there was a moment when we were doing it and Paige was pulling, and I just like needed a moment and I stopped and she like kept pulling, but nothing moved forward. You know, like
the one time she didn't tell me she was stopping, I just kept going and
I
was completely still. You know, it was just
it was hard.
And I am like weight wise 1.5 Rubinas.
Yeah.
You know, like and I could not make it move. Yeah. Like it's incredible what she did. Yeah.
That's going to be a new unit of measurement now in the Amazing Race. How many 1.5 Rubinas?
Yes.
374 Rubinas. That's great. Also, I love that Kristene, by the way, whose boyfriend brags about like, oh no, it was Rubina's boyfriend, right? Yeah. Sorry. Is at the time Rubina's boyfriend like does the hockey thing, but Kristene, her sister, like who thinks she's not going to be good at it, nabs it the first time. Like you know, Tucker takes 20 tries, so Rubina's boyfriend takes 20 tries, and he's like very braggadocious about it.
Yes.
And then Kristene is just like, here, I'm gonna be so bad, and then she's like, boom, scores the first time around.
Kristene and Rubina told us that that's how they got through the hockey one, and we have been waiting to just see it and get to bask, and like we were screaming watching it happen. It's so, and seeing their joy and excitement and like shock and awe and like I don't know, it's like very exciting.
Yeah, actually a little moment of like queer joy. For our premiere week in LA, we were hiking with Kristene and her girlfriend Chevy. And on the very gay double date hike, Kristene confessed to us that she was the one who got the hole-in-one at hockey, and all four of us were just like cheering and sobbing. Yeah.
Wow. That's so exciting.
Yeah.
Okay, well, less exciting is at the bottom of the pack. We now know it's between Kat and Alex and Megan and Matt. And it was really close coming out of the brewery. And I said to myself, it's going to come down to navigation and or hockey, right? Like it's going to be like who can't score or somebody's going to get lost along the way. We see Alex unable to score. We see how, I don't even know how many times. I think it's footage totaling about 25 failed attempts.
Yeah. He believes it was more. He believes they are being generous.
Yeah.
For the record. Wow. Who knows? But
yeah. So we see them constantly failing. Matt and Megan are pretty chill. Like they're feeling very optimistic. Again, they have their like cool Gen Z fleece on. And then they mess up the nav. And despite all of that footage of Alex biting it on the hockey rink, we know that they're surviving over Matt and Megan, who don't even get to harness themselves up and do the plow.
And I think they might have enjoyed a little harness.
I think they would have liked it.
Yeah. I think that they would have liked it too. I mean, so the pit stop order, and we know that the pit stop is at a place called Kajina Chateau, which is a glorious library rotunda. Team number one is Sissy My Sissy, Nat and Stephanie, which we're led to believe got the first place nod because Jazz and Jag let them finish first for Nat's birthday. And for winning, they each get $2,500, which I'm glad is not like in Camel Cash or whatever, and they can do whatever they want with that. But as we've already discussed throughout this episode, they were very capable of snagging that first on their own. And I think that we should maybe reframe that first place finish, not as a gift from Jazz and Jag, but a gift from Nat and Stephanie to the rest of their alliance, given how well they were performing throughout.
I would also love to point out that in their private interview segment, Jag and Jazz also confess that while they're framing it publicly as a gift, they are claiming it as a strategic decision to lower their threat level.
Yes.
Dumbasses. Such dummies.
Strategically takes the heat out. And we know about how you feel about the rivalry that you have, Izzy. Your big brother rivalry here. So they finish in second place. Tucker and Eric pass the brothers Fifi and end up in third. Joseph and Adam end up in fourth. I didn't talk about them very much this leg of the race. Mostly they were doing alliance things. We know they lost their keys. I also just want to shout out, I do love that Adam's constantly repping for diabetics as a diabetic. So I love that. Hannah and Simone, they eke past you, it seems, and they finish in fifth. And you finish right squarely in sixth. The plan seems to be about being consistent. And there's not much movement, honestly, between the teams. You kind of all finish in a relatively similar order.
Yeah, that's the joke we were making at the mat, was like, oh, this was the plan all along.
Yeah.
Because we finished right where we started. It's true that this leg definitely felt like while we definitely had opportunities to edge ahead of Hannah and Simone potentially, just because of the way the leg was laid out and the ripple effects from Prague, there was no version of this where we were like slamming ahead to first place. We just the drive time and time it takes to complete these things, there was potential to lose placement on this. There wasn't a ton of potential to gain.
Yeah. And the highest it seems that you got was you arrived somewhere in fourth place. And, it's just sort of it was a kind of fungible.
With the longest drive, with the longest drive, who knows what would have happened if we weren't staying in Kutna Hora the entire leg, where everything was within 15 minutes from each other. If that leg had another
if that leg had ended back in Prague, I think we could have been in fourth place.
Absolutely. Yeah. I think so too.
Yeah.
Because of the nav and your capacity to navigate.
Yeah.
Well, in seventh place, Kristene and Rubina, despite their struggles, and they talk about being glad that Team Sister My Sister were the ones in charge of the Knee Deep in the Passenger Seat challenge. I think that everybody's being really ultra generous to everyone else right now at this like early stage in the race. So it'll be interesting to see how relationships play themselves out as, you know, time and competition intensify. Eighth, Jack and Chelsea. Ninth, Kylan and Taylor. And then, as we already find out, Kat and Alex managed to get out of the hockey challenge and to the pit stop. Matt and Megan take it very well. They're like in the gloaming with the horses behind Phil, and they have great attitudes, having been eliminated from the race. So before we wrap up this episode of the Gaymazing race, I always ask about favorite Gaymazing moments in the race. So I'm going to ask you this question in two versions. One, what is your favorite Gaymazing moment as a viewer? And two, what is your favorite Gaymazing moment as a participant?
I gotta say, as a viewer, finally getting to watch that foamy beer squirt all over everybody. I was like, we've arrived.
Yeah, I would say maybe this is my favorite part of this podcast and not the episode, but the term lesplaining is really going to revolutionize my life, I think. I think that's going to be an important moment for me for a long time to come. So,
well, for sure. I mean, the foam party at the brewery, that's one. I think that it's Steph the bartender for sure. Is like probably the most Gaymazing element of this leg, at least featured on the edit in the race this time around. Also, I mean, even if they cut the footage of you, Izzy, doing the community work, it is the fact that everybody had to wear a harness.
I mean, I'll say that like that was my answer for doing like, you know, what's the gayest moment, the Gaymazing moment from running the race was the plow.
I mean, the visceral feeling that is still in my bones of the moment that you pulled that whole strap.
I tightened it, you know.
as Stephanie mentions in the episode, it's like a thong.
Yeah.
And Izzy said, okay.
Yeah. Anyway,
yeah. Well, that's amazing. Well, okay, so we also always ask, what is your gay score for this episode?
Oh, what's it 1 to 10? What's the
it's like a grade thing.
Oh,
like
right. Oh, right. Like
yeah. Well, yeah. I mean, I'm a grade inflator. I think that's what I get from having taught at a private university for a long time. But
there's pressure. There's pressure there.
There's pressure. Yeah. So
let's see. From an experience standpoint, I mean that this one's pretty high up there.
Yeah.
Because of the harness that you threaded up my butt.
I'm giving it an A because beer, that's less.
Yeah. Yes.
Harnesses, dykes.
Okay. Yes. Hockey.
Because Kristene did the best at all the hockey. Like that's an A.
I'm giving it an
A.
A.
Lesbian dominated the hockey challenge. Everyone was in harnesses.
And everyone was at that foam party. I mean, that's like, to me, that's an A. I got to give it
I think that's an A. And it, from like also told through your experience, that seems like a nice grade. I would probably give it like a high B, a B plus.
Yeah, sure.
I think that nobody like made out or anything. So like I was like
Nicole
is always like Nicole is always like, what's it going to take to get an A, Karen? I was like, well, it's for everyone to acknowledge that it really is a foam party.
That's right.
Yeah.
You're right. You're so right.
In our car, it was an A.
A plus.
But
A plus. But
I get that on a
macro level
scheme. Yeah, we settle for a B.
Yeah.
Yes. Knee deep in your passenger seat.
Yeah.
It is an A. Anyway.
Also, our person that leg was a big old dyke.
That's true. Yeah. We were running with an all-female team that leg. And yeah, at least one of them was.
I love to hear it. I love to hear that we also have crew that's there repping. And, I've like, my friend group in LA is filled with DPs and cinematographers and camera folks. So it's sort of like, so, I love to hear that one of our people is there covering the Amazing Race. So, and covering you too. So, Izzy and Paige, we've taken so much of your time. Thank you for coming and guest hosting this episode and reading between the lines, giving us some background info and telling us what didn't make the harness edit. This was just a dream. This is the Gaymazing Race, probably apex so far of experiences.
I mean, it's honestly, it's like such an honor for us because we're, knee deep in the in the cis male retelling of our lives.
Yeah.
And I think lots of like things are lost and missed. And so we feel very seen and proud of this.
I don't think I realized how many like podcasts and media outlets that cover the Amazing Race that we view as like neutral coverage are actually just like straight cis male point of view coverage until we finally heard a podcast talking about us from our point of view. It has meant the world to us to have, just something to compare all of these other criticisms of our race to. And, it's, yeah.
And yeah, just feeling like there's an understanding that like skills come in many different varieties and look like many different things. And just valuing the nuance in what it takes to do this and be successful has been really, I don't know, just so validating after coming back and now hearing it and being worried about the episodes and just like, yeah.
We're so excited. We're so excited. I mean, look, we've learned so much doing this race and learning about the quote unquote Amazing Race family, which is expansive and so many different teams and so many people, supporting each other. And in recent seasons with like a kind of proliferation of out gay contestants or where that the gayness is part of their storyline. I think that there is a building Gaymazing Race family. So it is awesome. I saw that you watched with Ricky and Caesar this week. They've been beautiful and lovely. So, it's going to be epic to continue watching where things go and especially this season. And it's been so great to have you this time around. We'll have you back. I am certain of it. And I know Nicole is going to want you back. So we will see you soon.
Yeah,
You've been listening. Okay. No, now we're bound by gay blood. Okay, right. You've been listening to the Gaymazing Race, a series on the Amazing Race for USC Dornside's Consortium for Gender, Sexuality, Race, and Public Culture. TGR is executive produced and hosted by me, Karen Thompson, and Nicole Georges. Our editor and producer is Allison Holly, and our theme music was arranged and performed by Kaya Wilson. Please leave your 5-star reviews for us on iTunes or anywhere you get your podcasts and spread the word to the Amazing Race fans of the world, especially the gay ones. We'll see you next week. Bye.
Bye.
Bye.